Hello and welcome. I'm Saeed from storyplanet.net. Dive right into the essence of the most captivating books without reading them cover to cover. Whether you're on the go, at the gym, or just relaxing at home, we offer you a unique and enriching listening experience. Today, we are exploring the book, The Making of Modern South Africa, a creation by Nigel Worden. Published in 2012, The Making of Modern South Africa charts the nation's history from colonial dominion in the 18th century to the establishment of a democratic society in 1994. The book delves into how conflicts over land, resources, and identity influence South Africa's progress. Before we delve into these revelations, it's interesting to note that Nigel Worden, a British South African historian, specialized in colonial South African history as Emeritus Professor of History at the University of Cape Town until retiring in 2016. With 8 key ideas to unveil, brace yourself for a deep dive into this captivating book on storyplanet.net. To start, exploration of South African history. The end of the Cold War saw the rise of many new democracies, including South Africa in 1994, which broke free from apartheid, a system of white minority rule. The dismantling of apartheid was part of a global trend towards representative government. This summary will delve into South Africa's history from the colonial period to the struggle against apartheid and eventual freedom. Key idea number 1. Pre-modern South Africa was inhabited by 3 distinct indigenous groups. 15th century Africa was well connected through trade networks. The southern tip of Africa, comprising modern-day Namibia, Botswana, Lesotho, Swaziland, and South Africa, developed in isolation until the 17th century. The region was inhabited for over 2.5 million years, with Homo sapiens settling around 125,000 years ago. The San and Khoikhoi people are direct descendants of these early settlers, with the Bantu linguistic group migrating in from Central and East Africa around 500 AD. The societies valued land and cattle, with leadership tied to herd size. European colonists arrived in the 17th century, disrupting the existing communal land ownership systems. Key idea number 2. Dutch presence in South Africa led to a violent conflict over land. Portuguese sailors accidentally discovered a sea passage to Asia when they rounded a rocky headland near Africa's tip in 1488, naming it the Cape of Good Hope. The Dutch subsequently established an outpost in South Africa in 1652, leading to conflicts with the indigenous Khoi people. The colony expanded, resulting in violence and displacement of the Khoi, ultimately leading to their subjugation as second-class servants to the European colony by the late 1700s. Key idea number 3. Mining played a crucial role in initiating South Africa's industrial revolution and urbanization. European interest in South Africa was driven by its strategic location for resupplying ships heading east. The British seized the Cape Colony in 1795 to secure passage to India, leading to conflicts with Xhosa, Zulu, and Dutch settlers. The discovery of gold in 1886 transformed the region, shifting focus to industrial mining. This led to urbanization, industrialization, and increased agricultural efficiency, drawing people into cities for wage labor and consumer goods. Key idea number 4. The text discusses the relationship between gold, war, and the formation of the Union of South Africa. Gold was integral to the global economy, as currencies were tied to the gold standard in the 19th century. The discovery of gold in South Africa led to conflicts between the British and Afrikaners in the Transvaal region. The British attempted to annex the Transvaal, leading to war in 1899. Following a prolonged conflict, the British emerged victorious in 1902, shaping the future of South Africa with lasting impacts on the region's inhabitants. Key idea number 5. The text discusses the Union of South Africa, the origins of apartheid, and the beginning of political opposition. The Act of Union in 1910 created the Union of South Africa, where white minority rule was established through discriminatory laws limiting black Africans' property ownership and political rights. This led to the forced removal of black people from fertile lands to reserves, denying them the opportunity for land ownership and political participation. Urbanization ensued, with black South Africans moving to cities for work, where they faced overcrowded living conditions and limited opportunities. Informal settlements emerged as hubs of resistance to apartheid, culminating in the 1948 election that formalized apartheid policies to exploit black labor while suppressing resistance. Key idea number 6. The text discusses the concept of apartheid and the emerging spirit of resistance against it. Apartheid was a system in South Africa that enforced racial segregation favoring whites, concentrating power and wealth with the minority. Policies limited black citizens' rights, leading to economic growth for whites. The African National Congress resisted through nonviolent defiance, culminating in the Sharperville massacre in 1960 and international calls for sanctions against South Africa. Key idea number 7. The text discusses a revolt and a call for reform. In the 1970s and 1980s, South Africa saw widespread protests against apartheid policies, especially highlighted by the Soweto uprising in 1976. The government responded with brutal force, leading to significant casualties. The country faced internal strife and economic disruptions due to the intense resistance against apartheid. The militarization of society increased, leading to economic struggles and international isolation as sanctions were imposed. As resistance grew and international disapproval intensified, calls for reform within South Africa amplified. Key idea number 8. Nelson Mandela and Frederick Willem de Klerk reached a compromise leading to an inclusive republic. South Africa experienced economic decline starting in 1980 due to various factors, including loan recalls by foreign banks, collapsing currency, and plummeting gold prices. This led to severe economic crises, high unemployment, and inflation. The apartheid government had to seek loans from the IMF, resulting in strict conditions that worsened the situation. A transition began in 1989 when de Klerk succeeded Botha as a pragmatic leader, initiating reforms such as legalizing banned parties and releasing political prisoners like Nelson Mandela. Negotiations followed for a new constitution, leading to the nation's first truly democratic election in 1994, where Nelson Mandela became president. The new government adopted a liberal Bill of Rights to ensure individual and gender rights, symbolizing a shift towards inclusivity and unity in the country. In conclusion, modern South African history has been shaped by conflicts like disputes over ports by the Portuguese and Dutch, fights over land between indigenous Africans and Europeans, and control over gold by republics and empires. The key conflict was between the white minority and black majority over who should rule the country, resolved in 1994 when it was decided that South Africa would belong to all its residents, regardless of race. Thank you for listening to this summary. If you enjoyed this exploration, we invite you to discover other fascinating books on storyplanet.net. Don't wait any longer. A multitude of books, stories, and knowledge await you there. See you soon on storyplanet.net.